Hi everyone, my name is Draazi. Welcome to the first episode of my Draazi Plays Darkest Dungeon playthrough. I'll be playing the game without any of the major DLCs and on Radiant difficulty, because I honestly think Radiant is already difficult enough, as I've never been able to complete the game before. I am planning on completing it this time, so if you guys have any advice for me, please feel free to leave them in the comments below. I'll make sure to check them and reply when appropriate. Thank you, and let's get this game set up. So, campaign, we will pick a new one. We'll disable the Butcher's Circus, Crimson Court and the Color of Madness. We will leave Districts, Flagellant and Shieldbreaker DLCs activated. It's also worth mentioning that I will not be activating any mods for this playthrough. And as we said, I'll be choosing the Radiant difficulty. Let's give that one a name. And let's get started. I will let you guys watch the introduction cinematic.
You will arrive along the old road. It winds with a troubling, serpent-like suggestion through the corrupted countryside, leading only, I fear, to ever more tenebrous places. There is a sickness in the ancient pitted cobbles of the old road, and on its writhing path you will face viciousness, violence, and perhaps other damnably transcendent terrors. So steel yourself, and remember there can be no bravery without madness. The old road will take you to hell, but in that gaping abyss, we will find our redemption.
I don't think I'll ever tire of watching that cinematic, to be honest. So we find ourselves in the old road. With the stagecoach destroyed and the caretaker gone, you will have to make the journey to the hamlet on foot. And here we find our heroes. Oh yes, I will be clicking away most of these tutorial messages. If you want to read them, go ahead and pause the video. So we find our heroes, Reynauld and Dismas, ready to move to the next room.
Brigands have run up these lanes. Keep to the side path. The hamlet is just ahead.
As the tutorial just told us, movement is done with the WASD keys, or the arrow keys, or the mouse, whatever you want.
Dispatch this thug in brutal fashion, that all may hear of your arrival.
So here we go with our first combat, which gives me some time to explain a few things. So to the left is our party. We have 4 slots in our party currently. We've only got 2 filled. Each of these characters have their own skills and will act on their turn in the turn sequence. And the idea is to kill all of the enemies in the enemy party, which also has 4 slots, but currently only one is filled by this brigand cutthroat. So this cutthroat has 12 hit points. It is human. You can see its protection, dodge and speed scores, as well as its resistances. And once we learn more about these types of enemies, we'll also see the skills section filled in. As to our own skills, these are up here on top. Every skill indicates with the yellow dots in which position our character can use that particular skill, and with the red dots it indicates which positions in the enemy party our target can or our character can target with these with the particular skill. It also does some explaining as to what the skill does. I will not be explaining every single detail of these skills, but for the most important ones I might explain why I decide to use them. So Dismas has this open vein skill available to him, and the Grapeshot Blast skill His pistol shot skill is not available, as that one cannot target the enemy in the first position, and we don't have anybody in position 2, 3 or 4. Same goes for the tracking shot skill, and this particular skill is a movement skill which allows us to move the position of our characters around within our party. Below that we see how many hit points we have, how much stress we have, our accuracy, our crit rating, our damage, our dodge score, our protection score, and our speed. Our speed will define or determine who goes first in combat. It also shows his gear, so his weapon and his armor, and two possible trinkets that we can equip. We don't have anything equipped in those slots just yet, as we're just getting started. So for now, let's just have Dismas do this open vein, which will leave a bleed on the Brigand Cutthroat, provided he does not resist the bleed effect. Evidently, as you can see below, he has 20% resist rating to bleed. But let's just go ahead and attack him. We hit, and he did not resist the bleed. As you can see, the Cutthroat will be getting 2 damage per round for the next 2 rounds by this bleed effect, which means, as it only has 2 hit points at the moment, that it will die on its next activation. So now it's again our turn after the Cutthroat decided to hit our Dismas. So now Reynauld is up, and he also has 4 skills available to him. His Smite skill, which does extra damage against unholy targets, the Zealous Accusation, which targets or damages both the first and the second slot character, as is indicated by these 3 red dots being connected. He also has a Stunning Blow skill available, which applies a stun effect to the target when it hits, but does a lot less damage than our regular attacks. And he has his Bulwark of Fate ability available to him, which is a self buff that buffs his protection stat and marks himself, but also has a beneficial effect of adding 24 value to our torch, which we can see up here is currently 88 out of 100. Now we could kill the enemy here by using any of these skills, but since we know he's going to die anyhow from the bleed effect if he activates next, we'll go with the Bulwark of Fate just to replenish our torch score here.
The way is lit. The path is clear. We require.
Then it is up to Dismas again. We'll just use the open vein again to finish him off. After combat, we'll
this
be able
expedition
to loot.
at least promises success.
In this particular case, we're getting 250 gold. Let's just pick that up and continue on our merry road. Just keep walking. Every now and again, we'll come across these interactive objects, or curios as they're called in the game. We can either click on them or just use the up key to see what is in there. So this is a traveler's tent. Someone has camped here recently. Let's just check what's inside the tent. And we find some more gold.
Waiting to be spent.
We now get to the end of this
Leave nothing
hallway.
unchecked. There is much to be found in forgotten places.
And when you're at the end of the hallway, just by using the up key, you can go into the next room.
An ambush. Send these vermin a message. The rightful owner has returned, and their kind is no longer welcome.
So RNG has been pretty good to us. We walked into this room and 2 enemies were waiting for us, but we managed to surprise them, which is indicated by these icons over their heads, which means that we will both get to act before we go into the normal initiative order. So, as you can see, we have 2 enemies, but the Brigand Bloodletter actually takes up 2 slots, or 2 positions. So this Brigand Fusilier is actually in position 3 in the enemy party. He has 12 hit points, a dodge score of 7, speed of 6, and then you can see his resistance is below, and he is of the human variety. The Brigand Bloodletter has a whopping 35 hit points, a lot less dodge and speed, but his resistances are somewhat better. So let's see how we're going to deal with this. We know Reynauld is only able to attack the first two positions, so we should be using Dismas to attack the ones in the back, and he has a pretty good ability for that. So basically we can use either pistol shot, which can target anyone from position 2 to 4, which means that in this case we can target both of them, or we could be using the grape shot blast, which would do damage to both of the targets in this instance. I am going to go with the pistol shot here, just because it does more damage and I want to get rid of this Fusilier as quickly as possible.
Annihilated.
That'll do it. Good crit there. Then it's up to Reynauld. Now, 35 hit points. There's no way we can kill this guy in one round. It's potentially even difficult in 2 or 3 rounds, so we'll probably go with the stunning blow here. Even though he has a stun resistance of 50%, I will take the 50-50 chance on taking him out of the equation for the next round. We miss, so that's not good.
Mortality clarified in a single strike.
So what happened there just now is he hit us and basically shuffled our party around, which means that Dismas is now in position 1, which for the time being is okay. We'll just have him open vein on him. And this time we did land the blow and the bleed, so he will be taking the bleed damage from now on. I'm gonna keep trying to stun him with Reynauld. He resists the stun. And now he's gonna use his Rain of Whips ability on us, which on top of doing some damage also gives us some stress damage. I will do another open vein to get more bleed damage going. Hit points left. We'll keep trying to stun him. This time it did work. As you may have noticed, so since we applied the bleed effect twice, he's now getting 4 damage per round for the next 2 rounds. So we'll just keep going. He should be dead.
A victory. Perhaps a turning point.
And we'll pick up our loot. And it actually completes our quest. Now I'm gonna choose continue adventuring here for a second. If we do return to Hamlet, the mission ends immediately, but I want to have a look at have a look at the chest that we can see in the background. So this is a bandit's trapped chest. Something doesn't look quite right with this one. So if we open this one, sometimes you get a key as a loot from this fight. If you get the key, go ahead and insert the key into this interaction slot, and then you'll be able to open the chest without getting any damage. Now for science, I will just open the chest. I know we're gonna get some damage from this, but it's okay. There we go. So as you can see, we got a bleed effect or a blight effect from the chest, and nothing was in there. So let's just click on quest complete and end this particular quest. Once the quest is complete, you get this overview of what rewards you reap from the quest. In this case we have the basic quest reward, which is 5,000 gold, some extra gold for the treasures we collected along the way, and some heirlooms. Heirlooms are a currency that is used to do various things. I'll be explaining that as we go and as we encounter these things. So clicking next, both of our characters got some XP, and Dismas also got a Thorn Rotator quirk, which is a negative quirk and actually makes him do 5% less damage with his melee skills, which isn't great because that does affect some of his usability, but we can live with it for now. So let's return to town.
Welcome home, such as it is.
This squalid hamlet, these corrupted lands, they are yours now, and you are bound to them.
So upon returning to town after a quest, we get to see this activity log. So the right side of this is always the same. It's the caretaker goals, which are basically some long-term objectives that we can try to achieve. It comes down to defeating bosses in various areas of the game. But the left side of the window is actually more interesting. It's the activity log, which tells us what happened this week. Now, nothing much has happened. So Reynauld and Dismas successfully escorted you to the hamlet. They both are now apprentice level, so level 1s, and we have unlocked the ruins. The ruins is one of the areas in the game. So let's close this. As you can see, we now have this 4 locations in our hamlet that have been activated. You can see that whenever a new location is activated, it'll be highlighted with this exclamation mark to make sure that you don't miss it. So the graveyard is where we can actually see our dead heroes.
In the poisoned earth, awaiting merciful oblivion.
We don't have any in here now, but trust me, we will later on. The Ancestors' Memoirs.
In time, you will know the tragic extent of my failings.
Here we can actually review cinematics that we have unlocked. So part 1 is basically the introduction to the game, the one that you get when you start up the game, and the House of Ruin I mean, and the Old Road is the cinematic that I let you guys watch at the beginning of the video. And then we have 2 more interesting locations, the Nomad Wagon, where we can shop for rare items.
Trinkets and charms, gathered from all the forgotten corners of the earth.
So currently we have on offer 2 trinkets here, a life crystal and an agility whistle. We won't be buying any of these because we don't have the cash for them to start with. And the last location is the stagecoach.
Women and men, soldiers and outlaws, fools and corpses. All will find their way to us now that the road is clear.
In the stagecoach every week, because every time you embark on a quest, a week goes by in the game time. So every week the stagecoach will be filled with newly arrived heroes that want to join your party. So for now we'll just take this Plague Doctor and this Vestal and add them to our roster.
Battlefield.
The game also advises us to upgrade the stagecoach, which allows me to explain the upgrading process for these locations. So if you click on this cross here, every location has some upgrade possibilities. For example, the stagecoach network increases the number of recruits available for hire, and the change will take effect after you return from your next quest. So for 3 and 4 of these currencies, so 3 deeds and 4 crests, we can upgrade and make sure that we get 3 heroes instead of 2 next week. So I will be doing that. And I will actually do the next upgrade already to get 4 next time around.
We can use this.
Second upgrade possibility here is the barracks, where we can increase the size of our roster. Currently our roster size is set to 10. We only have 4 heroes, and next week we'll get 4 more. That's 8 at most. So we don't need to upgrade the roster just yet. So I will leave that as is for the time being. And then we are ready to embark on our next quest, but I'll keep that for the next video. As always, thank you for watching, and talk to you later.